We Told You So, Episode 20. TikTok really doesn't like this one, so pay attention. As I've mentioned before, the stock market is already starting to tank in preparation for Donald Trump's administration. Because of his promised tariffs and deportations, economists have said that it's going to skyrocket our inflation and our unemployment. It's going to cause massive food shortages. It's also going to destabilize the dollar. As a result, the stock market is now starting to go down because they already know Donald Trump's presidency is going to be a disaster. Again, as I mentioned in Argentina with Javier Milei, the second he took office, his policies skyrocketed their inflation to 200%, devaluing their money, making the rich richer, and making everyone else incredibly poor. This is what the Trump administration wants to emulate. So while all of you Trumpers out there were voting for Donald Trump to make America great again, apparently that means devaluing the dollar, putting you in the poorhouse, making you lose your job, making you lose your health care. We tried to tell you. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to put together what they have called the worst cabinet in history, with so many people now being worried about RFK becoming the new health secretary. A guy who is not only a conspiracy theorist and an anti-vaxxer, but he still believes in conspiracies about autism. Something that came from false data that was actually made up by a different doctor who lost his license over it, but it's been debunked many times over the last 10 years. Studies have repeatedly shown that people who do not get their shots leads to a wide variety of diseases spreading, such as measles, polio, tetanus, diphtheria, hepatitis. Measles outbreaks have gone up over the last few years because people were afraid of the COVID jab. In November of 2023, the CDC recorded 15 measles outbreaks totaling 272 cases. More than half those children were under age 5, and nearly 90% of those infected were unvaccinated. Meanwhile, while modern science and vaccination saves hundreds of millions of lives, RFK equated it to this thing that I'm not going to say, because he's a fucking lunatic. Once again, under Donald Trump's new administration, measles is going to make a comeback. So is polio, tetanus, pertussis, to mention the fact that COVID is going to run rampant much worse than it was before. All of this hell is going to break loose while you're potentially losing your health care. We told you so. And once again, somehow Trump supporters are just now entering the find out phase, as the farm industry is alarmed by Trump's embrace of RFK and tariffs. He's been talking about tariffs for over a year. Why are they surprised? Economists and farmers in the agriculture industry are voicing alarm over Trump's plans that could disrupt America's $1.5 trillion food industry. Not only by those mass deportations getting rid of 75% of the agriculture workforce, but RFK Jr.'s job in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services would also include the FDA. If RFK Jr. gains control of the FDA, we are all going to be perpetually sick, drinking poisoned water, and eating toxic food for the next 4 years. All without health care. And on top of all that, everything is about to get much worse because Trump just picked Dr. Oz to run the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. So now our country is going to regress hundreds of years and get sicker and sicker because Trump picked yet another con man to push garbage instead of medicine. I bet Dr. Oz is really excited to make billions of dollars off of seniors dying for taking green coffee extract for their diabetes. This has once again been We Told You So.